Hi, this video was inspired by a comment made by one of my viewers, Richard. This is related to my video where I talk about how to play role-playing games. The link will be in the description below. I recommend that you watch that video first because otherwise things may not make too much sense in this particular video. Before we proceed, I want to talk about the channel's sponsor, Heroes and Hardships. This is a universal RPG system that you can use to play any sort of genre, theme, any sort of adventure, story. The links will be in the description below, and I'm also going to put links to my review of the Quickstart guide so you can get a better feel of the system, and to the Wallace setting based on the life and exploits of William Wallace. So please check that out. Now, when it comes to the comment by Richard, he said that he still found the "what do you do" question useful as a full stop, and he has witnessed some dungeon masters, game masters that didn't use the "what do you do" question, and the session apparently it turned into a very chaotic situation with everyone speaking at the same time or something. So although Richard didn't ask for advice or tips or anything, I'm going to provide my, what I would say, solutions, because I consider this to be a problem. And I'm not saying, like I said, this is to fix Richard's games or anything, but maybe someone else is having that situation and he or she is thinking about the possible solutions. So, okay, when it comes to the "what do you do" question serving as a full stop, you can stop things without the "what do you do" question. Just imagine I'm the game master. You arrive at the house of Dr. Frederick. The building looks almost identical to the house that you investigated an hour ago. But this house has a very strange doorknob. It looks like a lion's head. There you go. You already know that I stopped talking. The players are supposed to interact with the things that I have described. If you are talking in a very paused way as a game master, then the mistake lies in the game master. If you are constantly talking with pauses, that you need to polish that. Keep a fluid, a certain pace when you are speaking, so that when you make that stop, the players know that they are supposed to, oh well, I'm going to do this, my character is going to do this, etc. You don't need the "what do you do" question. Now, when it comes to players interrupting each other, this sounds like something that you would encounter in a Discord situation when you are not using video. Like maybe everybody's talking through their microphone at the same time or something. But this can be solved quite easily. First, I want to talk about what I would consider a flawed mechanism. This has its origins in the creation of Dungeons and Dragons. And all of them, including Dave Arneson, they were guilty of this because they were still trying to figure out how to create a role-playing game. And this is the role of the caller, or the duty of the caller. Like calling, calling out, calling the shots. A lot of you that are familiar with old school gaming know about this concept, this duty, and you know that it's not very effective, it doesn't promote roleplay. For those of you that do not know what a caller is, it's basically you have a player that discusses things with the rest of the party, the other members of the group, and when they have all figured out what to do, then the caller informs the referee, game master, etc. Okay, Jimmy is going to attempt this, Tommy is going to do that, Billy, etc. But the caller, it's something that pulls you out of the role-playing experience. So it's not a great idea. And I still find it very odd that you could have things degenerate in a certain chaotic situation, as if somebody is like many people talking at the same time. It sounds like a situation you will encounter with teenagers. Maybe people are running games for teenagers. One YouTuber, I think it was Jadar30, I think he was running role-playing games for teenagers in a library. Maybe it's that situation. But as adults, when you have several adults at the same time, it's not like everybody is going to interrupt each other and they are going to reach this chaotic moment where everyone is just without control, like blah blah blah, I want to do this, no no no, I want to do that, what no, that's very very strange. Well, I don't encounter those, I haven't encountered that situation since I was running a game for like 14 50 years, when we were 14 years old. That is a group from school. So yes, it's a bit weird. So the first solution: roleplay that interruption. Back to the situation where the investigators arrive at the house of Dr. Frederick. To give you some background, maybe Dr. Frederick is a potential ally, but the characters are investigating this cult, this evil cult, and they are not sure if Dr. Frederick belongs to the cult, and they don't know how to approach him. Perhaps he's a potential ally, like I said, he's unrelated to that cult, but they're still a bit worried that he could be the enemy in disguise. So they are standing in front of their house, and one player says, I'm going to knock on the door, and the other player says, I'm going to walk around the house to see if there is a back door. And they interrupt each other. Then handle things via roleplay. One could say, wait, what are you doing? You're moving, stay here, I'm going to knock on the door. And he's going to be like, no, we need to find if there is a back door in case we need to escape. What if we enter the house and trouble happens? We need a route of escape. So you can handle that via roleplay. What an excellent opportunity to add some flavor to the story. You have these characters interacting with each other. Now the other solution: designate a leader from the start. Back in those days, like I said, when they had colors, because they were more interested in getting a lot of people into the hobby and getting a lot of customers as well, they had perhaps 10 or 18 people playing at the same time. When Gary Gygax had his hobby shop and one of his sons was managing things, he was running games for sailors that arrived, that they were off duty. So you had, like, let's say 10 or who knows how many people, and to organize things they had colors, but like I said, an unpolished way of handling things, because it takes you away from the roleplay, it pulls you out of character. It's better to have a leader within the group. That way, whenever they encounter any situation described by the game master, dungeon master, etc., the leader could be, okay gang, what should we do in this case? We can use spells, and you see, it happens within character. You're not asking the game master, who doesn't exist within the fiction. The game master does not exist in the game world. You shouldn't be asking those questions to the game master, because the game master, the dungeon master, the referee doesn't exist within the game world. Unless you are playing, well, like the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, where you have an actual dungeon master, like, you know, that little guy that looks like a gnome, bald and with hair and white hair on the sides of his head, and he's dressed in red. That's an actual non-player character. But the game master, dungeon master, referee doesn't exist in role-playing games. At most, he has a non-player character to represent him or her in some games, like Ryutama. In that game, you have this very powerful being that serves as a guide for the group of adventurers. He or she appears every now and then, and that's the only way when you are talking to the dungeon master, but through a non-player character. So it's exactly the same. You only speak to non-player characters. Do you want to know something about the game world? Talk to the non-player characters, or investigate your surroundings if you want to discover some secret, some feature, some characteristic about some piece of furniture, the building, etc. So, like I said, if the players are suddenly talking over each other, I want to do this, no, I want to do that, oh, it's my turn, I want to do, no, no, no. Well, for starters, like it's my turn, it would be out of place. You're in a role-playing environment. You're supposed to be playing as characters. And so if you start to interrupt each other, it's quite useful to have a leader like, order everyone, order. Okay, Robert, what do you want to do? In case this enemy appears, do you want to use your spells? No, I'm saving them for the enemy. You see? So the what do you do shouldn't occur with the game master. It should be talking with non-player characters or with the characters within the party. Not a dungeon master that you do not exist in this world. You see, and the game master, hey players, what do you do? The game master doesn't exist. He's the engine of the game, a highly intelligent, hopefully, engine for the game. So talk with the non-player characters, with the player characters. Like I said, a leader is very useful. Or everything can be handled via roleplay. They start interrupting each other and they don't have a leader in the party. Hey, don't do that. I'm going to examine the back of the place to see if there is a back door. No, no, don't do that. If you get caught, then Dr. Frederick is going to think that we are members of the cult. You see, everything can be handled via roleplay. So that's basically my message for this video. The Dungeon Master doesn't exist within the game. Therefore, you shouldn't be talking to the Dungeon Master. It's going to pull you from the experience. It's going to pull you out of the experience. The only reason for you to speak with the Dungeon Master outside of the game is for something of great importance, like I need to go to the bathroom, there is this emergency, etc. Everything else that you want to figure out about the game world, about the site that you are exploring, the non-player characters, talk to them. Examine those objects, those places. Describe what your character is doing. I don't know if you want to handle things as first person or third person. You could talk like your character. You can interact with the game world like that. So yes, I think it is very necessary to really immerse yourself within the experience to eliminate the what do you do. The game master can always present the description, the narration, and the players can talk after he finishes talking. If you have passive players, then it's their mistake. If you finish talking and everybody's just like that with weird pauses, you need to fix that. It's not a problem of the absence or presence of what do you do. It's a problem with the players. Those players are not alive. They are not excited about the game. When you play a role-playing game, you must have that enthusiasm that you can't wait to interact with what the game master has described, to investigate, to use those spells in case that's the sort of game that you are playing. You want to have your voice heard and your actions to have an effect. So yes, that would be my advice. Like I said, this is not particular advice to my viewer. The comment by Richard. This is for people in general. Start as a game master, dungeon master, etc. Eliminate the what do you do. Talk, describe, present the situation, and when you are done, stop talking. If you made the mistake of handling this long pause and then a player character speaks, that's your flaw. Like I said, you cannot and then you resume talking. No. Keep a fluid way of speaking so that the players know when you are done. And like I said, if they start to interrupt each other, handle things via roleplay or designate a leader, which would be the correct way of eliminating the concept of color. You don't need a color. You need a party leader in those cases, if necessary. Because you can run games without an official leader, as long as the players are respectful of each other when it comes to speaking. Like I said, at most I have seen like two people that are, okay, I'm gonna so what do you propose, Trancor? Well, I don't know, Melvin. And that's how the scene plays out, similar to one of those fantasy stories or science fiction stories, etc. Well, thank you for watching this video. I hope this information was useful or at least entertaining. You can run your RPGs however you like, but I still hope that you will consider these tips if you really want to be pulled into the experience. Once again, thank you. I'm always looking forward to reading your comments or anything, and see you later.